You're listening to REIA Radio, the nationally trusted name in real estate investing. We dig deep to discover investors' why in real estate. If you want to skip all the BS and get in investors' heads, you're in the right spot. Be one of the thousands to check out REIARadio.com.
When I get into something, I always get into something 100%. Mm-hmm. And, not to offend anybody, but I was kind of in a spot, I didn't know what to do with real estate because the 100 million goal was my 5-year goal. Mm-hmm. And hitting it that early kind of crushed me. Like, I got bored at that point. Like, I didn't know what else to do. I was lucky enough to have a couple, like I said, most of my stuff is luxury. So I had most of my clients were out of town and not coming back till August. So I spent 1 to 2 hours a day every morning studying all of the different AI systems and the different ways to prompt it to get the best results. I coach a couple teams now for real estate for Zillow and Flex just because of my background. And they asked me to do a class on CMA. So at first I was like, I'm going to
comparative market analysis?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm going to use AI to help me with this class. So I did that, but then I started thinking, well, why don't I build my own system now that I know how to?
Welcome to REIA Radio, episode 299 with Mike Bjork.
Mike Bjork. Okay, Mike, I, in doing some research for this episode, came across a LinkedIn profile that I was convinced was not you.
Hey, that's better than your MySpace profile.
There was a lot of hair on that gentleman, and come to find out, it actually was you. Yeah, you had a nice set of hair on you at the time. I know we were talking about this before we hit record. I am not one to criticize, obviously, but in your LinkedIn profile, it says self-employed, no business names, no nothing, self-employed from 2014 to 2019. Now, I have two guesses, and Ted, I want you to throw one in here too, of what your actual businesses or your self-employment was. My first one with a question mark is bookie. No? True or
No.
false? Okay.
False.
Ted, you got a guess?
This is before real estate?
Yep.
Bartender.
I guess technically when I was 20, yeah.
Okay. All right. And then I had
Does that mean I win?
Bjork's Baked Goods. I pictured you with a hat on, isn't there one of the Muppets? Don't they go Bjork? Isn't that right?
Yeah, the Swedish chef.
Yeah, exactly. So Bjork's Baked Goods. I picture you as a sourdough guy.
I will give you half a point for that one, only because my dad had a bakery in Delhi.
Yes. All right. Look at me.
So who's the more winner here?
More winner?
Who's the biggest winner here?
It's got to be Ted.
Yes.
Oh,
Means Owen's the biggest loser.
Okay, now I did uncover a few other things in here that I thought was interesting. I didn't know about you. You spent 10 years at the Pueblo Fire Department. Is that true?
Pascua Yaqui.
Yaqui. Okay, wow, I butchered that.
Part of the Tucson Fire Department.
Tucson, all right. And then notice you went to Creighton University, paramedic school.
No, I went to, so when I retired from the fire department, I was far enough in to take a full retirement, not a pension.
Okay.
And I used that money to actually buy my first house in Omaha sight unseen.
Oh, okay. We're going to double back to that for sure.
Yeah.
Why Tucson? How'd you end up there? You're not from there originally.
No, I grew up in Council Bluffs, was here shortly, went to college for a little bit.
Did you guys know each other in Council Bluffs then?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because I went actually on a volleyball scholarship, believe it or
What?
not. And then my dad got really ill, and so I moved back for 6 months. And then after that, at that point, I was traveling around playing in doubles sand tournaments.
Okay.
And I wanted to end up somewhere I could play all year. I had a friend that was moving to Tucson. I was like, I'll move.
Okay.
Just like that, moved to Tucson, went and got a job.
Yeah.
Started training. And then met my wife at a college bar. Ended up getting on the fire department from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. The man of many stories. All right. So
it started off, he was just doing the volleyball to get free pitchers.
I used to have California hair,
Oh, yeah. Luxurious. Now, in Tucson, I'm picturing, I don't know why, because I just got back from Phoenix a couple of weeks ago on a golf trip, but I'm picturing like Breaking Bad-ish situations there where there's like a lot of meth labs that you had to go put out fires at. Is that true?
I can see that point. I've been spending a week down there a month now, but no, I mean, it depends. Like with the fire department, my station was not in a good part of town. So yes, I mean, maybe I was just numb to it, but no, I mean, there's probably more meth in the Midwest, small towns than there is.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
There's just more safe houses in Tucson.
More safe houses. Okay, so you came crawling back to the Omaha area.
Not my choice.
Not your choice. And now you said that your dad got sick. Did you come back for good after that? Or
no, that was when I was in college. That was when I was like 20.
Okay.
We were just in a position where we could move anywhere we wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And we were looking at like top cities. And at that point, I think maybe Papillion was one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my wife's choice. She said, let's go to Omaha. My mom was going to retire. I had someone to help watch the kids.
Okay. Yep.
And so it was her choice.
How many kids do you have?
I have two.
Two kids. How old?
My daughter is 20. She's a junior at University of Arizona.
Okay. History repeats itself.
Yeah, and that was her choice. My son graduates this year. He's 19.
Where's he at?
He's at Quest Forward
What's
High School.
Where's that at?
It's a private high school,
Okay.
like 120th and Blondo. Great school.
I never heard of it.
Huh. Okay.
I
I used to live
lived-
in
I don't-
121st and Blondo.
Yeah, two totally different type of kids. My daughter is always the center of attention. Like, I mean, whatever she does, she turns to gold somehow. My son is still the same way, but more quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Millard North was just too many people.
I don't know that I have ever talked to anyone that has two kids where they're like, oh yeah, their personalities are exactly alike.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're twins.
Mine are very, very similar.
They are?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have get. I don't know about that.
They're very similar.
I feel like
They're-
I know Skylar
they're
and
both full sports. They even dress alike.
Huh.
They're merging to become the same person. So
Which, I mean, mine are close. They still talk all the time, but
that's cool.
just totally different. Both brilliant, way smarter than I am. So
Yeah.
they have hope.
that's all we can hope for, right?
Yeah.
Now to put a bow on the whole mutual connection that you and I have, you took someone to prom. That now wait, what year did you graduate high school?
I graduated in 93.
So did I. Okay. So I started seeing her when I was a freshman in college, and she would have been a junior. I'm not sure. But yeah, we found this out after Mike and I ended up owning a title company together. I have no idea how that even came up.
I don't even know if it was like, I'm kind of curious now because I know that
Maybe it was the same time?
or maybe it was like a homecoming dance or something.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. So we never had Eskimo brothers here at the table before.
It was innocent times back then, Ted.
Yeah.
Don't bring your dirty mind into this.
Even with hair in high school, yes, I was still a loser. So
Volleyball scholarship says otherwise. Okay, so you're back in town. What next for you guys?
yeah, that was in at the end of 2010.
Mhm.
So my daughter was fluent in Spanish because my wife was practicing on the border. She took a job after residency as long as it was like a rural area so we had everything paid for.
She's an MD.
Yes, she's a physician.
Oh, cool.
So you don't even have to work.
Yeah, you're a kept man.
I was a trophy husband. So I still worked for the fire department, but it's like a 40-minute drive and you do 24-hour shifts. So we did that. And once she finished her 4 years, that's when we decided to move. But my daughter, her daycare only spoke Spanish because it was on the border. And here's my like blonde hair, blue eyes, fluent in Spanish with an accent. When she started kindergarten down there, they actually had her in the wrong class where they thought English was her second language until they met me. My wife is not Latin either, but she's fluent in Spanish. But
It's pretty cool, though.
yeah, but then my wife was like, well, let's keep her in that class. But they're like, no, then she'll be behind in English. And we moved halfway through her kindergarten year anyway. But yeah, so we picked a place that would teach it early. So we bought a house sight unseen in Barrington Park for $300,000 at the end of 2010.
Okay.
We remodeled it, put a pool. We sold it 4 years ago for $900.
Yeah, I was gonna say $1 million.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I did too. Yeah, like Barrington Park, that's a nice neighborhood in Omaha. Wow,
Yeah,
we bought for $300,000. That's so crazy.
Yeah, I know. And that was in 2010. So that was still, and what's crazy is I even negotiated that we rented it for a year to show the bank that we could still rent our house out in Arizona.
Yeah. You had Mama Warbucks on your mortgage application, so that helps.
Yeah, Mama Warbucks, yes,
Yeah,
for sure.
What $250,000 in medical or of college debt?
But to be fair, I just took my retirement and paid for that house.
There you go.
So
Well, you were a trophy firefighter husband.
there you go.
Okay, so early success in real estate. I mean, was that a flashpoint for you when you were like, "There's something here"? You know, we made a really good buy, or when did real estate even come into the picture for you?
Oh, that didn't even come in later. So I did have a friend that I knew growing up that I used to actually play volleyball with here that is in real estate and has a team. And at one point I was like, well, what is a home worth? Because when I first moved back, that's where Creighton comes in, is I was going to get into PA. I was going to go to PA school, but Creighton's one of the only places where you can get your bachelor's in paramedicine. So I had most of the credits already. When I was going to school, I was like, well, I didn't want to spend, at that point, we were still early, young. I didn't want to spend $10,000 a semester because we didn't qualify for any financial aid.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped, worked as a trauma medic in the ER. My wife's practice took off, and then I stayed home with the kids.
When you were growing up as a kid, did you feel like a calling to be in some type of an emergency response type of a career?
No.
I guess talk through that. What, like, how did you land on becoming a firefighter? Good paying job, schedule is pretty cool.
Well, yeah, getting an educated woman had a part to do with it. To be honest, and I'm not putting down the system, but like growing up, like I said, I graduated in 93. Back then, dyslexia wasn't a known thing either. And I went to, I remember this was not in Council Bluffs, but in a small city we lived in for a little bit, I would get what was called the Board of Education.
Okay.
Because I would have teachers tell me that I was either lazy or stupid. They did not understand that I couldn't spell. So I still have a hard time pronouncing things. But yeah,
I deal with that all the time.
Like your first name. That's Ted. Sorry.
Yeah, the first time I got the Board of Education, which is just a paddle with holes drilled out.
Oh, okay. I got you. Sorry. I was a little slow on the uptake.
It was like a physical...
The Board of Education smacking you. Got it.
Yes. So I kind of, I guess I probably had a different thought coming out of high school, right? That's where I was good at a sport, and I followed that. It wasn't until I met my wife that I learned how to truly study, which was crazy because once I learned how to study, like even getting on the fire department, the general exam.
Yeah, you have a written and then the field stuff that you have to do.
I tested with 3,000 people and I had a 98% and was able to get in out of all that, just learning how to study.
And now specifically, you mentioned that you suffer from dyslexia, or you did. I don't know how all that works. Yeah. Did you know that when you were growing up, or was that something you found out later in life?
I just thought, I don't know, I couldn't spell, and that was kind of a joke. And even in the fire department, after learning that stuff back then, you have to do handwritten reports. And, we joke around a lot. So my captain, my lieutenant would always say, are you sure your name's not Johnson and you just spell it Bjork?
But Johnson.
I tell you what, though, I mean, I grew up and I was always in there's special education courses for people who couldn't read and write very well. And I was in those from first grade all the way up through high school. And, and I've never been a good writer. That's not my strong point. I have no problem getting in front of somebody and talking or reading a speech, but to be able to write something down. So ChatGPT, when it came down, has really saved my life because
this explains a lot.
Yeah, because I'm not a writer. I don't know if I'm dyslexic. I've never gone down that road, but it's been a struggle for me my whole life.
If everybody's name was a number, I would have it memorized.
Oh, really? So you don't see, because now, if you're reading something, am I right in understanding that the words look backwards sometimes?
A little bit, or just some of the letters. There's different levels of it. So different letters will be that's why I can't pronounce things right sometimes. So people will be like, there was no L in that. And I'm like, well, in my head, that,
that's how you see it.
Yeah. Partly, or or I'll have letters backwards. I mean, now that, you know, I have to really, really train myself hard to kind of memorize the order sometimes. And even like me giving demos now, like luxury, like I will misspell it every time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Luxury? Which is funny because I actually have that written down here as a talking point. Where is it? Luxury as an experience, not a price point.
Yeah.
Is that your kind of brokerage model, your team model?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did someone else pick that word for you because they know you it's a hard time? They're
No,
like, from now on, we are going to be known as the one of the words that Mike cannot spell.
No, I was trying to come up with a way. So like I do, like when I was in real estate, I did a lot of luxury stuff, but I also had a team of 25 agents. And so I wanted to present, like, to get them also in there, and that there's all price points, that it was an experience and not just a price point.
Okay.
Right. It's the experience. The experience doesn't change. Some people know people better, know the luxury market better, but I mean, I think most people can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Okay. So you're back in town. You shuttered Bjork's Baked Goods and said goodbye to the firefighting career. Went to Creighton, got your paramedic.
no, I already had it. I was just working to get my bachelor's.
Okay.
So I at least had a bachelor's.
Yep.
If I wanted to move on to like PA school and stay in the medical field.
Got it. All right. So tell us about when you decided. Now you had obviously it took a little bit of a little while, kind of a slow burn with making a boatload of money on your first purchase here that you bought sight unseen in Barrington Park. When did real estate as a potential career path enter the picture?
It probably would have been in 2019.
2019. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have.
I wasn't expecting to say it. I thought it was be way before that, but
no. It was. I got so bored. My daughter hit high school. My son was in middle school. At that point, I used to do like 24-hour mountain bike races too.
Oh.
So I was training all the time while they were at school, and then I kind of burnt out on that a little bit. Just bad crash, and like the last 24-hour race at 3 a.m, I'm like, why am I doing this? It was just, it broke me after but it was like 4 24-hour races. So I didn't give up on the first one. But
jeez, man. 24 hour. Was that because you were working 24-hour schedules? Is that why you just you're just like, this is the only way I operate. I have to do things 24 hours at a time.
Because one, it gave me a chance to go back in Tucson, because it's called 24 Hours in the Old Pueblo. And there's a lot of good trails locally. So I used to do that heavily. I got a coach, really train, put a team together, because you can do it individually, but you could do a team of 4, but they have like 500 teams in it. And so I put a good team together, you know, and it was like midnight, and we're like, okay, are we giving up? Because you do 18-mile loop, so you just go, hand off the baton, you're gone. Like, it's all tracked. And we were ready to like, okay, let's just settle for the night. And then we had friends that were tracking us back home or here in Omaha, and they're like, you guys realize you're in the top 10 out of 500 teams right now. And so then that's the decision. We're like, okay, let's see what we can do. But
you're like, God dang, I just put my jammies on.
But that's also what broke me. Like, you don't sleep to get to that point anyway. But it was like 3 a.m, and I'm like going, and I'm like, why? Like, why am I doing this? Like, there's nothing to prove. I win no money out of this. Like, there's nothing. It just broke me.
Huh.
I mean, how do you your ass has to get so chapped after doing that much bike riding.
God, what is it called?
Butt rub or butt cream in there?
Butt butter or something
butter.
like that.
Yeah.
It's a lifesaver.
Butt butter.
I'm like,
oh, but it's fun. Like, and it plays with you. Like, they have all these cameras set up, right? So you can get your photos later. But like the first year I was doing it, they had and it was probably someone that was there, because they just set up a whole city in the desert. And it was like 2 a.m, and I like one of the climbs, you're slow, and I keep feeling like looking back, and there's a guy in a full Sasquatch Bigfoot costume doing the walk, like as you're climbing, and it plays with your mind, because you're like, is this real? Is this not? And then you go back, and as you see the photos, when you're picking out your photos, you see that, okay, this guy was real, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, the costume looks much more realistic.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. All right. So 2019, what happened?
Like I said, I was bored. I just wanted something to do. I was talking to a good friend of mine, a neighbor, who's actually like a GI doc. And at that point, I just got a car, but I was like, everything was reliant on me being handsome as a trophy husband, right? And so I was like, how do I get a couple $100 more to get just a little bit nicer car without having it be an issue? And then so I was like, well, I'll sign up for Uber. And then I start talking to some friends, and then they'll dispute the way they said this, but there's a local real estate person who I did join right away that I even called them for advice, or one of the people that I had come look at my house. And I was like, someone brought up real estate. What do you think about me doing real estate? And exact words were, someone like you needs to stick to construction. I was like, okay. And then I talked to my friend in Tucson who he was licensed, but the only reason he was licensed was because he just happened to inherit a ton of money right before the crash, and he used it to buy a bunch of short sale properties for rentals. Right. So he got his license just to save that 6%.
Yeah.
So he talked me into it. So I never drove anybody in Uber. I kept the case, like they made you buy this case to put on your thing while you're driving.
I was a former Uber driver, so I feel you.
So
were you really?
Yeah, Uber and Lyft.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. Like I needed something to do. I needed adult communication.
Yeah.
So I studied, like I think I did it all online. So this was all in the same year because I didn't even start the class till January. So I did it online. April, I tested, passed. First 2 days of being licensed, had my first contract.
Wow. That's not normal, is it?
I don't know. Like I'm a big fan of
You had 25 agents,
Well, it depends on how you put it, because to be fair, I figured out a way with Zillow to milk it for everything I could.
Okay.
So to be fair, I did pay through Zillow for that lead.
Doesn't work like that anymore, does it?
Not quite, but I've seen the changes because at one point, so like I said, I went from got that deal first week, I was all proud. And I remember because I started on a team, I told my team lead, who did help me with the first contract. I told my team lead, all right, look, I already got this. He's like, okay, great. He's like, probably got sick of me being excited and said, now go get a listing. And this was on a Friday. And I took that as a challenge. And then I call him up Monday morning. I'm like, I got a listing. I started to make calls, and actually I sold it in a day too. I didn't even have to take it to market.
Wow.
Which is funny because the people that bought it are good friends of mine and real estate agents. And, it was my second week into real estate. And so they're like, you take both sides, buddy.
They give you a little pat on the head.
Yeah, that's the way I felt.
Started.
Yeah, that's the way I felt, which was nice of them. But then, they're also the same people that here I am a month in, and I ask them, how do you guys handle all these open contracts? And they kind of smile and laugh okay, how many contracts can you have? You've only been in real estate for a month. I'm like, I've got 9 open contracts right now. And then that's when they're like, okay, here's what you need to do. And so they got me a transaction coordinator, they kind of helped me start. And then I went to our broker because at that point they're Zillow, love it or hate it, it is profitable. Any year I've always made 6 figures off of revenue from Zillow, even with a team.
Point of clarification, open contract means you as the real estate person involved in the transaction have something under contract, whether you are on the listing side or the buyer side.
Correct.
And it has not closed yet.
Correct.
And so your question was, how do I handle all the herding of cats involved with getting something to closing, escrow, all the stuff, right?
And I have no business experience, you know?
Yep.
So yeah, Zillow is always profitable if you do it right, but that's what kind of made me jump, just because I figured out a way to, at that point it is market-based price, so it's changed, but if you spent X amount, you would have an offer to get a zip code before some of the other agents. So I pieced together all these different zip codes to equal that amount. And then they had an opening for Elkhorn, for a huge percent. It was $8,000 a month is what it would have been.
Which, if you're not from the Omaha area, Elkhorn is one of the most desirable parts of town in and around Omaha currently.
It is the highest average price house.
Okay.
And it's a huge zip code. So no one else got theirs in time. And then all of a sudden I show up on Zillow spending close to $8,000 to $10,000 a month instantly, and having all of these other agents like calling like, who is this guy? Because back then it also used to be when you looked up zip codes, it would have like if you were 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden I'm like in the top 3 of all of the top zip codes. And so that's when it turned into like I'm getting like 65 calls a month at this point.
Wow.
And so I was like, what do I do? I was like, maybe I should start a team. I did talk to our broker. I went with a printed out, like where I show up with all of his top agents that are like in the top 10 in the country. And like, here's where I'm showing up against your agents in Zillow right now.
And you've been an agent for how long at this time?
That was October of 2019. So what?
Your first year.
Yeah,
So
like 6-7 months. And at that point, I was already at like 8 million in sales volume.
What in the world?
And your wife is like, maybe you're going
to. Oh, my wife was super supportive at the beginning.
At the beginning.
Yeah. She would be like,
trophy husband no more.
Like it was, and she does not cuss much, but it would be like even the late hours, like I worried about that. Like, okay, like I'm on the phone, on the computer all the time now. And she knew I felt bad. And at that point, it's changed since then, but she would just look at me and she'd be like, you're effing killing it. And then just send me back to work.
Yeah. Do your thing.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Holy crap. Now Ted, you obviously, I don't know the brokerage or like individual production, world of being a licensed realtor or agent or broker. So I always heard that, this is maybe years old, but 10 million in production is a pretty good year, right? You're going to be in the top probably 5-10% of agents. Is that true?
Yeah, it depends because they do break them down to categories. I did find that, like especially talking. So that's the reason brokers always break them down into categories so everybody can get up, right? So I don't think it's truly fair that way because there's mid-sized teams that do way better than large teams.
Yeah.
Too. But on average, as an agent, I would say every 5 million in volume generates close to $100,000.
Okay. Yep. And that was mentally what I'm walking around with is kind of like my understanding of it.
Right now, and that depends on so Zillow leads at that point. Like I said, I was spending $10,000 at that point. At one point, I got up to $25,000 a month. But like those leads would be a different split with agents because obviously they cost a lot. But to me, the whole point is I built a system when I started it, not just knowing that I had all these leads coming in, not trying to scramble. But at that point, I already had a transaction coordinator set up for the team. I had a whole system in place for follow-up because the way I looked at paying for those leads, especially that early, one, I'm old. Like, I was 46 at the time.
Owen's in denial.
Yeah, I was going to say we're the same age here,
Owen's
man.
in denial about
be
age.
kind to yourself.
So,
you're not.
But no, my point was I had the skills, but I didn't have 20 years of past clients.
Yeah, it's go time.
How do I build that quickly? And that's why I invested so much in those leads in that short amount of time.
What was your Zillow bill every month?
Like I said, at one point it was $25,000.
Yeah.
Oh. But at that point, I mean, that's when it got to like 25 agents.
Just from the
numbers were totally different.
Okay, so I've never been an agent. I don't know that world like you guys do, obviously. But in my head, I'm comparing this to if you have an active, like if you're doing wholesaling, flipping, and you're marketing for leads. And you have, direct mail, you've got pay-per-click, you've got SEO, you've got different marketing channels, cold calling, texting, those kind of things. In my head, because I operated a business like that for a number of years, and like you would make X return on every marketing dollar spent. With Zillow, do you have I guess maybe, this is 7 years ago when you started this. But what was it like then? What was your, could you 5X, 6X, 10X? Yeah. What was your return on spend?
It was always somewhere around 6, I wanted to say. So yeah. I know it just it fluctuated. So like I said, numbers were my thing. So I kept a Google sheet. So not only like when I track stuff, I track like what zip code was bringing the highest return for the amount spent.
Yeah.
And how many closings were coming there, right? Because if you had one that had a lot of closings that wasn't as expensive, that's great for the agents, because the whole point was for the agents to gain new clients and learn to follow up and create super fans from that, right? But yeah, it would just be tracking. So, you got to give it at least a quarter. You can't just say, okay, I did a month spending $8,000. Where's my return? It doesn't happen that way. My business plan when I started, I kept it in a book like this. And I thought, just being a new agent, my goal was $2 million my first year.
Okay.
Right. I still kept the book. Like I said, I had that in the first 3 weeks. I went and I still kept the book, crossed it out, and new plan.
Yep.
And then I grew my numbers from there, scaled from there. I tried to be low at first, but
How's the Zillow advertising changed from then till now? Because I hear so many agents talking about that. I've never personally done Zillow marketing. Well, I guess that's not true. When I had a team, I invested in Zillow, but I just listened to the rep and he just put the money where it needed to go.
So it's changed dramatically. And I think I can talk about everything now because I'm not on it anymore. But so I did grow really quick with Zillow. So Zillow then reached out to me and asked me to be on their agent advisory board. So I was like one of 20 agents across the country that we'd meet once a quarter, twice in person.
Wow.
The first time I went to one, I didn't know what to expect. They had all these round tables. I thought it was just other agents. And I'll be honest, I did still this story, but I was sitting next to him. But the guy next to me was like talking to the guy next to him who's just in a t-shirt. And he is like, asking him, so who are you? What do you do? And he's like, well, I had this travel app, but we sold it. And then we started Zillow. It was actually one of the founders of Zillow who's sitting just right at the table with us. The app he was talking about was Expedia. Right. And we're just like, okay, so this is real. Like, this is not like some sales pitch from Zillow. If you're in the room, they make you go through a whole disclosure that like even their employees don't know. So like we helped write the scripts for the way Zillow could convert better.
Okay. So you're involved in basically the algorithm more or less with
a little bit,
yeah,
the way it looks, things like that.
Now, real quick, I don't mean to slow your roll on this, but from somebody that hasn't been on your side of the table, if you're a user of Zillow in order to find, say, like you're looking for rental properties or flips or whatever, and you go in and you see something, you look at the listing and you're like, yes, this looks like something I want to check out. Are you saying that when you spend that money, your monthly spend on marketing to basically buy your way to the top, are you the first person that appears as like, contact an agent? And I always thought, like when I first started doing this, I was like, this is the listing agent, right? This is the listing agent for this property. So yes, I'd like to talk to them because, they have more knowledge about it because they have direct contact with the seller, all those things. You're saying that that's not the case, obviously, right?
Well, yes, and it's changed a little bit, and so like to really dive into it is like I found ways to always manipulate that. Now, whether this is right or wrong, Zillow's AI reads the conversations anyway, right? So I've learned the highest conversion rate is face to face.
Okay, how do you mean?
Like conversion to a sale.
Okay.
Right. You're not going to sell a house over the phone.
Sure. Yeah.
You're not going to sell the house over an email.
Yep.
Even if you get them to their site or want to see that's not the conversion. Your highest conversion is face to face. So I set up somewhat of an algorithm based on the way Zillow does it, that you have certain questions you need to ask. And the first thing is like appointment. Right. It doesn't matter as long as you make an appointment with that person right away is probably one of the most important things.
Okay. Even
if the house is pending or under contract, you do that on a follow-up call, right? Because Zillow's scoring you on setting that appointment.
Oh, I see. So that's a KPI for the people that are...
Well, for the AI that goes through it and automatically scores you. And that's how I found ways to just be efficient on all of my agents' calls to make sure that we were top. So we were performing on the premier agent, we were at 98%, which means we were outperforming 98% of all other Zillow agents in the country.
That's crazy. In the country.
Yeah. And this was just year or two
into it.
Yeah.
First off, I think it's funny because one of you guys end up down your story eventually go to doing a title company, and Jerry Schlickburn, which was my old business partner with my when I did the brokerage side of the business, just ranted and raved about how amazing a person you were and how loyal you were, and you're like literally one of her favorite people out there.
Oh, that's
and she to this day still says that. But I just thought you guys had but until now, I just always thought that you've been an agent as long as she has been, and you guys had long history. But I mean, I didn't realize you were so new into the industry.
Well, yeah, and that's where the title came in. Is when I do that, like I did my research, so I knew the amount of units that it took, and I wasn't doing that amount to run a whole title company. Mm-hmm. I thought it would be better to do a parent or sister company at that point. So I was trying to get agents that I knew that could reach numbers that I couldn't. With you guys bringing in that side was totally different with the commercial that brought all the numbers there.
All right. So this is how I remember this going down. I say we, and I'm what I'm talking about is my group of guys that we had liquid lending together, and we had some properties together and so forth. And then we got approached to basically put together this. It was kind of positioned as the biggest title company in Omaha is what we were going to be, and the biggest real estate or the best real estate teams, the investors that were doing the most and the biggest transactions. We're going to assemble kind of a powerhouse of people to, capture all of our stuff, eat our own cooking, kind of get some money back out of the deal instead of giving it all away because we're doing a lot of transactions. Is that how you were approached?
A little bit. I wouldn't say the best. I had an opportunity to get a title company going. I had someone approach me because at that point, like I said, going back to real estate, by year 3, my team was producing 104 million in volume.
Your team was producing that much?
Yeah, by year 3. So to me, then I always start thinking of ancillaries, right? So I got approached for an opportunity to start a title company. Did the research, knew how many units it took to do that. And I mean, no matter how big I was at that point, I was not doing 600 units.
Yeah.
So I tried to put a team together to make sure if we did have a title company, it would be sustainable. I don't know where the best and all of that came from. I obviously didn't pitch you on that because I would never say we're going to be the best at any
but
of it.
You and I had never met before this. Didn't know we shared a history with a St. Albert's girl from Coming Dance.
I hope she listens to this.
No shot. But yeah, we didn't know each other at all. And then so we got basically kind of thrown in a room together. And it was some of the, regardless of your self-deprecation here, you were one of the biggest producing brokerages in the country.
Yeah, just to put it in perspective, it may have changed maybe this year, but there's teams that have done it several years, but in the state of Nebraska, that made me one of only 5 teams to ever go over 100 million in a single year.
Yeah. And you're self-describing as somebody that I don't know if I'm the biggest or the best. So kudos to you for being humble, but I was
very proud at that moment, probably. And I probably brought a lot of energy. I will say that.
Yeah. You had a big team. They were closing a lot of deals, a lot of volume. We brought in several other, or no, I say there were other people brought into this group that were doing a lot of stuff. And we hit our numbers. There's no point that we didn't hit the numbers. And it was going well, but there were too many cooks in the kitchen with that whole setup. Is that your takeaway from this? It just seemed like we had a lot of strong personalities.
Yes. I've learned now anything else, there is no separation for A and B shares. Right.
Yes.
And that's we needed the investors because they were making money, but we didn't need that many decision makers.
Yeah. It was just a lot. There were way too many.
You had a lot of D personalities in there.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of successful people.
Yeah.
So very opinionated and so long story short, the title company didn't last long. I think it was RIP after about a year, maybe a year and a half. Is that about right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And it ended up being perfect timing right when the market changed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the production would not have
money.
Been there.
Yeah, we did not lose money on it.
Yeah,
it actually worked out quite well.
I made all my money back. Plus, I mean, if you wanted to look at it pure, what was your ROI on it? I mean, it was 100% in a year and a half. So that's not bad. Yeah. But let's just put it this way. There was a lot of strong personalities. There was a little drama, maybe a lot of drama at times. And there were some weird transactions that happened at a weird time. It was just weird. It was, I'm glad we went through it.
So it would have been best that there was like one designated leader from the beginning and there was like the decision maker and that nobody else really had a vote.
Yeah, it was, but there's two, technically three. We had a parent company that had their designated leader, and then our title company had two, which was me and Chris was the other one.
Pamela?
Yeah. Only problem is we were also friends with everyone else that was there, so there was no way to shut that off.
Yeah.
I've learned that starting the other companies as well. So jumping into that, hopefully the ROI on that, like the new company, the new AI company, potentially what's tracking for investment wise on this company is somewhere around a 380% return.
Okay, we're going to talk about Ted and I investing in that in a second. But to put a bow on the whole title company thing, big picture, would you ever do it again?
I wouldn't say no.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on where I'm at and what's generating auxiliary income.
Yeah,
that I can at least have some control in.
Yep. So, I have been exploring this very recently as well, kind of getting back into it with a much different approach to it and having way less people involved and, some parameters around everything. But I would say if you're just looking at like how much money can I get back out of putting this money into it, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
If you're involved and paying attention and you're going with a decent operation.
Yeah, I would look into it. So what I like is, I guess I haven't thought of this for title, but maybe it's possible. But I always like a P&L approach. So I did this with the mortgage where you have control, but you're not solely involved, right? So in a P&L, it was always great because they had to pay me one as a minimum wage just so you have, because I have to do the 401k benefits. It's a great way to get into stuff like that. But your profit and loss is still based off volume and what's shared. So it's a little bit lower risk for everybody. But.
Yep. Okay, let's talk AI. I ran into you, Ted and I both ran into you about, 3 months ago, something like that at a REIA?
Yeah, a couple months ago probably.
Yeah, at a REIA event, and hadn't seen you forever. You and I were catching up, and I can't remember.
Was that your first REIA event? I don't think I've ever seen you there.
No, I've been to several, even at the A-Loft.
Yeah.
No, he had a lot more hair then. But anyway.
I hide in the background.
Yeah. So I'm like, what have you been up to, man? And we're catching up, and you're like, oh, I started an AI company. I'm like, what? And then I don't know much else other than what we talked about that night after a couple of bourbons. So,
well, to be fair, my first comment back to you was, you're looking buff.
Appreciate that. I the beer goggles were definitely on.
I actually think I think we're both standing there, and he goes, "Are you guys all doing roids or something?"
Yeah, he's calling your supplier. I think that's what he said. I appreciate that, but I was blown away by what you were talking about then. Like, what's the scoop? Spill the tea here.
So it's kind of the same way I got into real estate. Like when I get into something, I always get into something 100%. And, not to offend anybody, but I was kind of in a spot. I didn't know what to do with real estate because the 100 million goal was my 5-year goal. And hitting it that early kind of crushed me. Like I got bored at that point. Like I didn't know what else to do. So
hang on. Do you have a problem with moving goalposts? Because this seems to be kind of a little bit of a recurring theme based on your 24-hour bike ride that you were going to be like, what's the point? And you did it, and you're like, I big deal, I get a participation trophy. And then now you're one of the highest of highest achievers in real estate, and you're like, what's next? And then you go on to the next thing. I'm not psychoanalyzing you, but I am a little bit.
This sounds like my conversation with Jason Trees I had yesterday, by the way. He said that he talks about this type of stuff perfectly. Maybe you should be a coach.
Maybe I should.
Yeah. So I've changed my goals, and that's from listening, like going to these conventions. There's actually some guy that's on ESPN that changed my way of some ex-pro football player.
Was it Chris Berman?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
No. Wrong color. That's why I laughed. Sorry. Like not even close. Anyway, but he kind of had the same problem. And it kind of helped after that for me to approach like, okay, like even setting the highest limit goals is still always, no matter what, gonna unmotivate me if I hit them. Same way when I hit biking, like even the local thing around here is what, like I would, sounds crazy, but you know, they post the times and you have Strava. And so I would consistently look at the stats of everyone else, knowing where I needed to be in that top 3. Mm-hmm. Same way when I started real estate, what I would do is I saved, every quarter they send out top producer for teams and individuals. And so from day one, I always kept those records and tracked like, okay, if I want to get these numbers, I would know like, okay, what do I need to hit quarterly? What do I need to hit? Because no business experience, having like a mentor for 8 months isn't going to teach me how to grow a business that big. Mm-hmm. And so it's always statistics. So it really depends. I could set a goal that may be unattainable, but I'd rather have something like smaller goals, like to not have a cap. And I think capping my previous goals off will help me this time. And even that, creating this company, I've learned what everything I did wrong, I try to basically build a business that also protects me from myself, from my past mistakes.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. Okay.
Sorry. Well, you're the psychologist
here. AI, like, who was the catalyst for this, and what have you done in the last? Because you've only been doing this a few months, right?
Yeah, there was no real catalyst. So there was like I'm involved in some of these masterminds for real estate.
Okay.
That was at the last one in June was, okay, our next topic is AI. And that was set for August. So I had all month of July. I was lucky enough to have a couple, like I said, most of my stuff is luxury. So I had like most of my clients were out of town and not coming back till August. So I spent 1 to 2 hours a day every morning studying all of the different AI systems and the different ways to prompt it to get the best results. And then from there, I was like, even during that month, because I spent 20 days doing that, I know from the presentation, but then I coach a couple teams now for real estate for like Zillow and Flex, just because of my background. And they asked me to do a class on CMA. So at first I was like, I'm going to
comparative market analysis.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm going to use AI to help me with this class. So I did that, but then I started thinking, well, why don't I build my own system now that I know how to? So then I went and did all the approval to get an IDX, to be a broker for the IDX for the local MLS, created a CRM system that built in all appraisers adjustables, because most young agents are not going to do adjustables in a CRM.
Do you mind briefly explaining what you mean by that? Like expand on adjustables.
So a lot of agents, and especially when you're busy, especially like when I was busy in the earlier times, was not all agents understand how to adjust. Like, okay, if there's one less bathroom, there's this much difference in yard, or
it's below grade
updates.
Square footage
Yes.
versus above grade.
Yes. And most of them don't. And I'll be honest, I wasn't always like that at the beginning, but I was always close enough. But that's a totally different sales approach, a totally different topic. But this at least breaks it down. So when you are in front of a client, it has pulled what most appraisers use for adjustments. And so when they do argue like, well, no, that one just sold for this X amount, you have it right there saying, well, here's why. Right. And then it even had AI built. I built AI into it to help create a marketing plan, and then also descriptions. But, that's the easy part.
Okay.
Like I looked at AI different. I started talking to agents and even doing these conventions or doing enough volume that I still get invited to these top producing events. All agents were using AI to either use it for emails or produce cards or something. I looked at AI from that moment, it switched, and I looked at AI as something that could generate money if you did it right, not just to free up my time, which is what I'm selling with my platform, to free up time for you. But it was a different way to look at it. Even then, the top talkers in real estate for AI would just have like academies on how to prompt. I went and made negotiations with all of these AI companies to have a lower price. So like if you're subscribing to ChatGPT or Gemini, if you're subscribing to both of them, you're going to get it cheaper just by coming to me.
Oh, is that right?
Well, it's built in. That's
Okay.
one of the several AIs. All the other people are telling you to go to different places and here's how much you're going to pay. Go to this place to do this. Go to this place to do this. We have it all built into one spot.
Okay. So if I'm understanding you correctly, you're trying to capture real estate related, that's your audience for your product. Is that true?
That is one of the platforms we built. I try to keep it for real estate agents. Yes, that's what we're trying to do. But in reality, we do so much more. Like we've already built 2 apps for companies. We have a proposal to automate HR. The AI SEO that we built, we already have restaurants subscribing to it. So it crosses so many industries, but that confuses. Like if I go to a broker, and say,
are you building the app through the AI tech?
I already built it. So and then
I mean the apps for these clients.
I do, but I'm lucky enough. So 2 of my partners, so Suda, she resigned from Union Pacific, where she was the VP, right below the CIO, head of AI and tech. So she's got this huge corporate background. She was in the same spot at Walmart International. With her connections, she was able to bring us in some really high level programmers that we pay like for each project basically, or have it run all the time. So now I can build it somewhat handed off because, there's so many different things that you need to make sure you have secure. Like, even having an IDX feed alone cause it like you have to have a secure server for everything. And that's things that I couldn't do just by building with AI. You're going to need somebody that has a high level background for that.
What's the cost to build an app?
Well, it depends. Like now at this plan, but we play around with it when we have 4 people on it all the time. And we'll spend I think this month, only because we built a couple apps for a company, $1,200.
Oh, that's really affordable.
Yeah.
Okay.
The servers are great. Put it in this way. We can handle currently, I probably shouldn't say this because then people will ask for discounts, but we can handle 10,000 users right now. And our operating budget is below 500,000.
Wow.
I mean, the product's cost is the product's cost. So, I mean, it's
still cheaper.
Yeah.
It's cheaper and everyone has their own server, but.
Well, I'd love to talk to you. I came up with an app that I need. And I sent it to 2 app builders as of this moment right now. And so I'd love to send those details over to you and see what you think.
See, and I love that. See, that's where I feel comfortable, like even talking about hitting goalposts. Like, I think I just have somewhat a creative mind, just the way I think. But like, there's already been 2 other apps that I've built just from having a meeting. Like one person was when I was getting a beta tester and they just did this video that day that I saw on our Instagram or whatever. And I was like, how long did it take you to do that? It's like, 8 hours, we had to shoot. And then I hear, I wish we would have done this B shoot. Within 45 minutes, I went back to my computer, built 6 different AI systems that did everything to take that 8-hour shoot and do it in 30 minutes.
How do you get really good at prompting? Because okay, I'm a user. I don't understand it at the level you do at all. And I've got a base level knowledge of it. I've messed around with chat more than any of them. And I've messed around a little bit with others. It's moved so fast that what do you do with this when you're just, you're somebody that wants to be not left behind, but you don't want to go as deep as you are. What do you do?
Well, first of all, I think it's easy for me because, like I said, I'm dyslexic and I can't spell. So it's like 2 babies talking to each other, But no, honestly, give it rules. Like you can be as descriptive as you want. I can do it with basic rules. So what I did is with our platform and not just going back to sell this, but so we have a part where it's it has VEO built in, Soro, all of the image generation things built in. Mm-hmm. But what you don't realize is with ours, you can put a basic script like create an image of a luxury house in the Midwest. On the back end, it actually generates a full script with description to make it a better prompt. Mm-hmm. You don't always see that. So you use AI a little bit, but sometimes you don't always need it, but just give it rules. Like with our video tours, that was the toughest part because that was staying compliant, right? So now we're creating videos where you're going through from photos and you can't add anything to keep it compliant on a true listing. It's okay to do that on your hero page, but not for a listing. So then those prompts, like that's where I brought in. So, connections is always a big part too. So I have a good friend that was a client. He's just won. Shout out to David Weiss, by the way. He's just won a couple like the film festivals here, Omaha, Atlanta, New York for his documentary, The Rose Man of Omaha.
Yes. The little guy.
Yeah. He did a documentary on him. When we were talking about how to prompt, is I brought in a real director. So there's pre-built prompts that shoot it like a director would shoot it.
Oh, okay. So I got you now. So I thought you meant you hired like a director of AI for your company, but you're talking like...
Yeah, so for every product, we try to bring somebody in for that field.
Okay.
Right?
Well, that's interesting.
Well, like here's where I feel like it's... There's no way to stop AI from potentially taking jobs. It's going to happen.
It's happening.
And so I bet you get the best product from it by bringing someone in from there. And to me, it's like, okay, at least I'm saving a couple jobs.
Yeah.
So one thing I noticed with AI, especially like when I'm doing like graphics, it cannot take a picture of somebody and use their actual image.
Yes, it can.
Okay, but it doesn't, at least in the Chat GPT, but yours can.
Well, yeah, it depends because you're probably, Chat GPT.
We'd like to use it for our AI for creating like our podcast thumbnails.
Okay.
And Owen looks like some weirdo every time I put it in the AI.
So there's a couple different ways around that. So one of it, we actually have, that is one of our big things that a lot of people like, is you can take a photo of yourself and create your lifelike avatar and just record your voice for 1.5 minutes, and it will capture your voice and you will always have your voice to use. So then you can just start doing scripts and it will generate from a photo you moving and talking like you're actually talking to somebody with your hands. Mm-hmm. And you can change the level. Oh no.
Yeah. Look how scary you look.
Yeah, that's what I showed this to my wife last night. She's like,
"This is Owen's AI image." By the way,
she's like, you might want to go with a different picture
because like, I don't know. That's not it. It's not him. But yeah, so we're trying to.
I'm like, honey, you can't polish a turd. Okay, this is probably as good as it gets at this point.
But I look like myself.
You look, yeah, that's totally you. At first, I thought it was an actual picture. I'm like, my God, what was I doing?
It's our new podcast.
Well, that's how I ended up the one with hair. Like my original versions were like they have hair. I like that.
Yeah.
And then I had some past clients and friends that created a Bjork Nation then on Facebook. So then they started using our AI to like generate like falcons flying off my shoulder, like logos, all this weird stuff.
There's a group just to reproducing you.
Yeah. Bjork Nation. I love it.
And it was funny because those past clients that turn into, like I said, that's back to the super fans. Like I would have never met him. Like he came in through Zillow. He was one of my early clients. Mm-hmm. And even at my 50th birthday party last year, like I'm looking around the room and I'm like, holy cow, like I have so many friends that came in like through paid things. That's why I'm not against it, because then you create a super fan and they refer everything to you.
Well, one of our 70,000 downloads is going to be now joining that page. Just so you know.
Oh, man. This is great. Okay, so last question for you on this. Gun to your head, if you could only pick one AI tool right now off the shelf that's available to normal people, not you, which one is it?
Riplet.
I've never heard of this. Have you?
No.
Riplet. Yeah. Riplet. Riplet.
Is that the name of yours?
Is that a trick question? How many times have I told you I'm dyslexic?
No, spell that.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Replit.
Replit. Riplet. I have never heard of this. Ted is furiously looking it up. Riplet AI. Build apps and sites with AI.
So I've studied a ton of them. The difference about this is if you are building something, and I'm not trying to take business away from myself, because you guys would have to figure out the back end stuff anyway. But like that one is great at building something when you don't know about it or know how to build code, because it puts it into the code.
Yep.
Right. It also makes it easy because they already have contracts with a couple places where if you do need a quick API code key, they can get it for you. Where like ours is different, like because we use different places that we store it. Right. So we'll make direct negotiations with like Gemini or HeyGen, things like that, 11 Labs to have a cheaper cost for the whole year.
I feel like you're just making words up now because like I don't recognize any of these. Gemini, I do. Okay, so Replit, man, I feel so unprepared to ask you really good questions about this, just because like it's such an advanced thing, and it happens so fast that like you just continuously left behind. But one last thing I want to ask you about this is, I find myself trying to get good at AI, and then I go way off the rails and just start messing around and creating like stupid videos, and then all of a sudden I look up and it's like 3 hours later. Like how do you stay on the rails with AI as you're looking to use it versus you're just a user? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I actually, to be honest, see this could potentially be a social change eventually, is because I find myself talking to AI in a totally different way. So now when a chat bot actually even reaches out to me in a text, I almost know right away, and I find myself responding back like I'm programming.
Okay.
And I almost feel that communication might change to that at some point. But, maybe that's just where I fit in because I'm always a little awkward, maybe. But
after I spent 6 months talking to AI to create my book, I understand where you're coming from.
Have you guys seen the movie Her?
Yeah.
I have not.
With Joaquin Phoenix. You should watch it. This came out.
Oh yeah,
8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, something like that. It was Joaquin Phoenix was the lead, and it's a dystopian future. Scarlett Johansson is the AI voice that he's talking to, and everybody is walking around talking to their own AI. And this was eerily similar to how everybody is with phones right now, but in the short amount of time, probably the hardware, and with who knows if Elon Musk's whole brain meld thing that he's got going on.
How many people dating their AI these days?
So I had this literally come up from a client in Tucson that's subscribing to our real estate platform.
Okay.
Like at first I thought she was joking. She was dead serious. Like, hey, your honest opinion, is AI going to take over the world? And I'm like, what? And she's like, well, we can create all these like avatars of ourselves through your AIs. They're going to start posting things. That is not the way AI works. AI, like we have stacked systems of different AIs, right? Because you can't patent AI, but you can patent the process. So it would take like 6 different systems to all come together and have one hive mind in order for something like that to happen. But there are people that are really worried about that.
Yeah. I mean, did you listen to I mentioned this so many times before, but listen to the last time Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan, and he talks about going to Mars, and he has his own AI platform. And he's like, my only goal is to be able to get my rockets off before 2028, when AI is smarter than any human in the world. And I don't know if that window will be available to take humans off. Like he's worried, and he is one of the biggest.
I think 2028 would be a little shortfall for that. Even the top companies are saying, so here's what's changing industries now is like AI has been around a lot longer than we know. Mm-hmm. Problem is like these major corporations, it takes 2 years for anything to change because of compliance.
Yeah. And procurement and like negotiations and contracts and all those things.
That needs to be shortened to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
just because it's going to change. I think that it is somewhat.
It's like new medicine coming out.
Well, it's a little bit. It's a little bit like the Wild West right now, right? So even locally, so even building this company, like I try to look to the future a little bit. So my idea is always to keep a huge chunk back because there's a lot of great people that are creating things. The problem is they'll start finding out that if they build this AI platform that, okay, this could be revenue generating, is they cannot program, they cannot sell, they cannot, once they get their first client, they're spending all their time making sure their product is great.
Yeah.
And it sets them so far behind.
Okay.
As a larger company, like I said, I have, we're lucky enough to have a large angel backer, and we're already gaining traction, is that it gives us opportunities to also sometimes gobble up those little ones, right? To make it a larger company. We will never be in the top 4 for AI companies. I'm not saying we're going to be a Google. We're not going to be a ChatGPT. But we can be in the top for real estate platforms, AI automation, and app building, right? So we don't have to be the best at the top thing, but we can be at least in the top 3 of any of those other fields.
Like Zillow.
Well, that's a different beast. But.
Yeah. Wow. I
don't
mean,
set your goals too low, then you'll get bored with it.
So our data, so just to show some backing, like our data, and feel free to look this up because I've done my research and maybe I'm wrong. And anytime I do research, I always look at it from when I was in a medical background, right? You have to have peer reviews. You have to, it has to be real data. So the dummy site, which is actually My Golden Brick, is the website of the whole company. And that's not a place where you go in to do your templates. If you want to go check out the AI stuff, go to imakepage.com. But My Golden Brick was set up to test our SEO and AEO. And so that was a site that you don't log into. Average with paid ads for a new site for the first 30 days would be 1,000 to 5,000 page views. And that's with paid ads for your first 30 days.
This is yours?
Yeah, it doesn't look great, but it was just to test. Mm-hmm. Our first 30 days, we had 37,000 page views.
Okay. Yeah.
And we have it blocked so there's not AI bots that are making those views.
Right.
And so the data is showing that we are showing up on AI searches. And that was just 30 days. 10 days later, we were over 60,000. I don't know what the number is today.
Okay. Man.
And that was from January 13th.
Well, I think we're going to probably have you back on season 2 to talk more about this as your business gets more mature and like things are just evolving exponentially with this. So I'm endlessly fascinated about AI, and I feel like I'm so behind already. And you've rattled off so many things that I've never even heard of that it almost gets to the point where I feel like a boomer, and I'll be like, that's not for me. I don't need a cell phone. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's, I want to keep up, but it's just, you have to stay on top of this so much that it changes so fast. I don't know how you do it.
It also makes it tough to sell, right? Because I tried to think ahead. So I built all these things in there, but it's overwhelming. Mm-hmm. Like I should probably not be the spokesperson for this platform because I mean, when the real estate side, yes, I can get it and direct them, but there's still so much built in. Yeah. Right. So that's where now we just figured out a way to run social media for people for $250 a month. And we'll just use our platform.
How many subscribers do you have already?
We have 22. So even then, like we have our marketing in here too, which would be a whole nother story. But we looked at a couple marketing places to jump, like to get going. One of them actually came back with a proposal to buy a percentage to use our product.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, let's hold off. Let's take a step back and let's kind of even grow this.
They Shark Tanked you?
Yeah, I get Shark Tanked every day. I've gotten like 3 proposals now that.
Oh wow!
Like, cool. We opened up 10% to like the beta testers is what I did. I thought that was fair. Give the large teams. I didn't expect them to do it until they were done testing it, but the 10% was gone within 3 days, and that was before we launched.
God, so crazy.
It's. It's been good.
Fascinating conversation. Congrats on all of this. I am just blown away by what you've been able to do with, I mean, especially your early background. I mean, you talked about not having a business background and you were a firefighter, you went to paramedic school, you got into real estate. I mean, real estate agents and investors aren't known as being like generally people that are on the forefront of technology. So that's why it was such a curveball for me for us to run into you at the REIA. And you're like, I started an AI company.
I just like to learn.
I love that. Well, speaking of learning lessons, we have a segment that we call
Failing Forward,
where we talk about something that didn't go according to plan. And I mentioned this before we hit record, and you were like, nah, that's pretty much my whole life. But this is something that we like to basically, kind of highlight something that happened in your business or life where it didn't go according to plan, but you learned some lessons along the way and you wouldn't take it back. You got anything that jumps to mind like that you wouldn't mind sharing?
Yeah, well, obviously I got to give a shout out to my wife because I met her. Well, first of all, met her on the dance floor at a college bar in Tucson, and I had to make her laugh, so I was swinging around the pole. So
nice.
One pole dance would be one.
Okay.
That I wouldn't give up again.
So this is a bar in quotation marks.
Yes, I had all my clothes on, and I did not get any dollar bills.
There were some spicy ballerinas there. Let's put it that way. Okay, got it.
That was back when the hair would flow.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you got full firefighter effect going on. Luscious locks. All right, go ahead.
Well, I try to look at everything as a lesson. All right, so my biggest mistake. Yes, we did make money off the house we bought in Omaha, but we did make the mistake renting our house out in Arizona, which even 2 years later, our property management did nothing. So I still had to bring $100,000 to the table to close on a listing.
What?
Yeah, because it was my first rental property. And the value changed because, like I said, we bought that house right at the height of 2008.
Oh.
And then we rented it out for 2 years, and that area...
Like a refinance?
No, we built...
No, he's saying it went backwards in value from the time you bought it. Right? Got it.
Yeah, because we made the mistake. We bought it, and then all of a sudden, my son was coming along. My wife didn't want another room in the basement, so we spent like $75,000 on a house we just bought to add 2 rooms, and then the market crashed. So even though I made that much on the other, I did lose at least $100,000 on the other.
Balancing the scales a little bit, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you meet Jerry in
Arizona? That's funny you said that. I was going to ask him, was Jerry Schlepper your closing agent on the short sale?
Well, she was my real estate agent.
In Arizona?
No, I'm kidding.
I was like, what?
I'm kidding.
Oh, dude, this has been so fun. I am so glad we got to go through your background. I didn't know most of this about you other than our high school connection. But
that's nice. She was talking about me the whole time.
Yeah, probably. Looking at you, thinking of him.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Well,
only if we could interview her.
No.
Yeah. No, thank you.
She's still around.
She's still around. I can handle the interview all by myself.
God, I don't even know. I have no idea even.
All right. Well, I'm going to bail you out with this part. So we have one last section that we call the OT with Owen and Ted. That's preliminary OT, where we've got some questions that we're going to ask you. And these are, hot off the press. You've been a little bit prepped, but not a long way prepped.
And you're going to be the last person to get this set of exact questions, just so you know.
Yes.
Okay.
So you better make this good. No pressure. All right. Here's the first one. If you're going to write a book, have you written a book, by the way?
I can barely write. No, I have not written a book.
Well, luckily you have some AI friends out there.
Well, okay. I do have 2 published medical research papers done.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Did you collab with your wife on that?
No, that was for me to get my bachelor.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So if you were going to write a book, what would the title or topic be?
I would call, only because I had time to prepare, like a couple minutes, I would say how to turn boredom into entrepreneurship.
Okay. Love it.
How to keep moving the goalpost.
Yeah. I haven't figured that out.
It's your podcast. You can interview anyone in the world today that's alive, and you get to ask them one question. Who's the person you interview? Doesn't have to be real estate related. And what question would you like answered?
I did put a little thought into this one, and I don't think I would pick anybody because like connections is what made me me. So it's anyone I meet, like just having them answer any questions that I want to know about them. It doesn't mean if you're the most famous person in the world, it wouldn't change.
So what's the one question you ask Owen and I if it's your podcast then?
Well, I'd have to ask Owen off.
Off mic. Yeah, we comparing notes. Got it. Okay. Next question.
Did you want me to answer?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I would ask like what, like you guys are successful. Is there one key thing that changed that, or was it just dive and grind? Like dive in and grind.
Hot potato.
Yeah, for me, it's just dive and grind. Yeah, you got to learn it. You got to keep working at it. And if you don't know it, then you just got to suffer through it until you figure it out, right?
Mine would be a little bit different. And I'm going to kind of latch on to what you just said about connections. I would not be where I am, regardless of what that is in the grand scheme of things. Where I am, my current station in life, I owe to every connection that I have made at some point, from bartending when I was 19 years old in Council Bluffs, Iowa, at the Sweetwater Lounge, close to your high school. And I got my first real jobby job from a guy that used to come into Sweetwater Lounge, and we used to talk about business. And I was 19, I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And he was a business owner and a pretty smart guy, went to AL. And he ended up getting me my first like professional interview where I remember this, I didn't own a suit. So I went to, I believe it was Backrack. I don't know how to pronounce it. You remember this? It used to be at Westroads Mall, Oakview. It was a national chain. They're RIP Backrack. I don't know how to pronounce it. We always called it Backrack.
I may have a suit for a wedding from
I think the Men's Warehouse.
So I had a sport coat that was probably like $59, and then I didn't have a tie. I didn't know how to wear a tie. I had a collarless button up, long sleeve button up. I looked terrible. Had my first interview, got the job, and I got into headhunting. So I was a recruit, an IT recruiter pre Y2K. And that was my very first job. And I owe it all to the guy that I happened to meet while I was bartending. Fast forward, met another guy, got an interview, got another job. So I owe everything I have to all of the connections that I've made. And that's why I believe so much in connecting people. And you gave homage to people that are, super connectors, to put it in my words, not yours, a few times during the episode here.
Yeah, that's only one approach. Like I also did the same thing with agents. So it wasn't just creating clients that are fans, creating agents that are fans.
Super fans, you mentioned that, yeah.
Because every agent, it makes a deal easy. Like I try to be very honest. I don't need something in my head that I'm trying to keep track of. I have enough stuff in there already. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have an agent that I can just be like, here's where we're at. Here's what we're doing. That's why I at the beginning, I created an escalation clause that helped me in the beginning time that made us stand out. So,
yeah. Yeah, no, everybody's doing escalation clauses, or they used to anyway.
I always feel like, whatever you're going to do, be the best at. So any company I work for, I always made sure that they were the best in their industry.
Yeah.
And, it's just kind of like getting into, attending networking events. It's like wanting to be the person that was the go-to person.
Yeah. The guy that knew guys or gals or whatever, right? The connector.
Yeah.
So. The same. We're this very
I was correlating with everything you were saying there. But I have to give one shout out because you mentioned a suit. I remember I finally went to a university from the community college. It was like my junior year. And my fraternity had an event and you had to wear a suit. And I was like, I call my mom up. I'm like, Mom, I don't own a suit. And she, I had some little church suits I wore when I was younger.
Three pieces.
And so she took me to the Men's Warehouse and her friend owned it. And they fed me up. And then I don't remember the tag was, but it was a significant amount of money for that time. It was like 2001 probably. And I'm like, Mom, we can't afford this.
Yeah.
And she's like, my friend owns a place. He's hooking me up. We're fine. We got this. And it was, at the time, several hundreds of dollars for the suit. And I got this 3-piece suit and, and a special tie and everything for it. And I remember I felt like $1 million. And I wore that suit probably every job interview I had for the next probably 5 years. So it made me think about that.
Yeah, I remember that too, because like I remember filling out an application for a credit card when I was bartending, and they ask you how much do you make a year, right? And I think I'm maybe 20, maybe 21 at the time, and I was like bartending and going to school, and like I went to Bellevue University during this time. I think when I remember applying for this credit card, and they're asking for what your income was. And I remember filling out $16,000, and I remember being like, "This is a total lie." I'm like, I don't make any. I don't even know what I make. Like, I don't. I know what I make hourly. I know what I make in tips. Then I was like 16,000. I felt like I was totally like, "Oh my God, are they going to find out?" And then I was like, "It's just crazy." I had no money at the time. Same thing. I went to Backrack, and I was like, "I can't afford to go to Backrack. This place is expensive. I should have gone to." I don't know, the discount rack at Dillard's, but I like blew my tip money on buying this checkered, like gray and black sport coat, and then a collarless shirt with no tie. Oh my God, so cringe.
I probably still have the coolest leather jacket sitting in my closet from the 90s.
Yeah, it's a classic now.
That would never be worn again.
Yeah. I ran into my first boss ever recently, and he has a little thing called Caribou Coffee. It's at it's at the UBT like sports complex, and I'm like, Bob Blank, what's going on? And I still remember his phone number, everything from calling him. I'm like, is your number still 402? He's like, how do you remember that?
Wow.
And I'm like, and he was like in my first boss. I worked for him like 16, but the thing that really stuck in my mind is I remember the minimum wage sign very specifically being like $3.25.
Yeah.
And it's just thinking all the hours I worked for $3.25.
That's God. Oh, that's so funny.
I mean, if you live in the Philippines right now, it's $3 for a liter of gas. I found out from John, one of our assistants.
Oh, is that right?
And I'm like, a liter?
$3.25. That's a lot.
All
right.
Well, when I was a trophy husband, my eyes would be watering. You mean I get $3.50 an hour?
Like I got to save up for some new bike tires on my 24-hour bike ride. Okay. Little bit of a pivot here. Sad times. We're at your funeral. It's eulogy time. As of right now, who do you envision walking up there and giving you the big send off? And what do you hope they would say?
I guess to me, it really doesn't matter what they say, but I would love it to be more like a game of hot potato with my urn. Wherever the music lands, that's who's got to give the eulogy.
That's awesome.
That's a first.
A Catholic school boy like yourself, I'm surprised at this.
If you think about the mentor in your life that's had the biggest impact on you, who would it be? And if you're speaking to them directly right now, what would you say?
Well, I mean, and it's not because I'm married to her, but I would say my wife for sure. That was a pivotal point of just doing a construction job, not thinking I could be anything, to learning that I could actually learn things and study. And once I started learning things, it just changed my world.
She believed in you.
Well, I mean, she taught me. She took the time, and especially when I'm trying to, you have to learn quick when you're, proofreading like medical journals and things like that, So I learned in a different way, but I also learned from that, I guess maybe a little bit to Catholic schools would be Latin, is because most languages are based in Latin and all medical text is anatomy is Latin. Right?
Yeah.
So then I made that connection, and then I just learned to make connections from there. So I'd have to say her. As far as someone I look up to, it would be Rahul Jolly, is a friend of mine that he is the CIO for Union Pacific. He also came in as a client once, and we became great friends. Just someone that is so down to earth, that teaches you all the time. Like, to listen to him talk about scope and scale just blows my mind and changes my perspective. So,
in regards to your wife, at what point in your career did you finally surpass what she was making in your companies, and how did that transition go over?
Well, one, I'll reference us back to even Owen's first, like 16,000 and thinking you're lying, because are we talking about what we're actually bringing in and putting aside? Because there's a lot of things I write off, right?
I get that.
And she still actually makes a ton. Like she's probably in the top 4% of the whole nation for what she does.
Wow.
So
you never did surpass.
Well, even if I did,
Yeah.
she wouldn't let me know it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
That's
She
fair.
would.
That's fair.
That, I mean, because that had to have been some interesting conversation. You went from taking care of the family to
It went.
being a serious producer.
Yeah, there was a big change. Like we went from, like I said, when we did sell our house finally, like 4 years ago, we bought a nice house, and for the first 10 months, like I was like living high, like I'm paying for everything. So I was paying for all the cars. I was paying for a more expensive house. And then finally I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like, are you ready to help split now? And she always takes care of everything. So I just give her money once a month and she takes care of everything.
Man,
That's awesome.
that is fun.
All right. Last question for you. What are you looking for in your business or life right now, if anything, where somebody catching this episode might be able to connect you? Are you looking for employees, connections of any type, funding, investors, companies to buy? What do you got?
Growth. So, if you have an idea that there's something that you can't build, we're more than welcome to do that for you.
Okay.
And that's fairly reasonable. We also do work out, like if it's a good idea and someone doesn't have what it would take to build it. One of the apps, for example, we worked out a percentage share just because we believed in what they wanted to build. We'll just build it for you. In the longer term, it does better for us, but at the same time, it helps somebody that can't get something going.
Awesome.
That would be one. I don't know. For me, I want to see this succeed for my personal needs. Like, I guess that's my next goal is, 1,000 subscribers is my goal.
Okay.
Within 15 months.
Yep.
So,
and then you move the goalpost and start something else.
well, at least with this,
Astronaut.
at least with this, I get a build. Like that's where like I'm constantly building more things for it and more apps. Like, some of those I'll let my team decide or the company decide where they go, if they're individual or included. I just like to build.
That is one thing that is really exciting about AI is it literally seems like there's endless possibilities with the stuff you can create out of it, whether it's new AI apps or new social media stuff, anyway, multiple ways to run your businesses, your life. Like it just seems like there's so many possibilities with this now that software is finally catching up with ideas.
Yeah. And like I said, I would just give it rules. It will follow rules. A lot of people forget to build compliance, and compliance is the first thing I put in. So then I know, one, that's not a fine I'm going to get later unexpectedly down the road, but then it kind of learns from that and also knows how to skate the line as much as possible and still be in there. It's not like it just completely dumbs it down. You just give it rules, give it time. Like I said, try that Riplet is a good one, because on that one you can actually, to save money when you do it, go to plan first. And even as you're building, it will build it out. Always plan before you build, because if you build, you're spending more money.
Yeah.
And then it helps. And it's great because you can actually highlight sections like, hey, I want this box changed.
Okay.
I want this changed.
Yeah.
Like to dumb it down for people like me, I guess.
Yeah. And us. No, this is great. All right, Teddy.
Well, I'll definitely be sending you my my app idea and let me know if you can help with that, and we'll go from there. But Mike, it's been great to know you over the years, and I appreciate your support at our local REIA group. That is truly awesome that you do come to that and you do pass on these, your great wisdom, especially in the AI. I'm excited to see where this goes further for you. But got the app, I got the site all locked in now. We'll put a link to it in the show notes. So other people can find it. Yep. And Owen, we see us out.
On behalf of REIA Radio, Aiden Bear and Ted Kaasch, I'm Owen Dashner. You've been listening to Mike, from no business background to girlfriend stealer to top producing broker to AI mogul, Bjork.
Sign off.
Nice.